All right. What do you do to be in the game? First of all, it's not a game. First of all, it's not a game. And that's where poetry gets really profound for me. And I believe I can show everyone, and I believe everyone else can wield language like I do between my imagination, the real world, and this, spoken diatribe, right? And so, like, when you ask, is it a game? It's, first of all, it's not a game. See, if you want to be creative, I'm finding out more and more, creative is to be original. And when you're original, right, you make the games, right? And we're in a time where a lot of the games have been made, right? And a lot of them, to be honest, they come out of war games, right? Because that's the highly funded, highly professional, the game of war is pretty crazy, And so, you really got to go out there, I believe. You have to, it's not even the cliche of outside the box. You got to go into your original self. And, all the greatest artists, even in the 21st century, have known that, It's the looking glass, If you put it in a folklore, Denki, that's why we choose Denki, because Denki Publishing, Denki is an illuminated story box. And to me, illuminated, it's transcendent. It's not, doesn't mean the same thing every time. So it doesn't get preachy. It's just a question that provides more questions and answers, and then questioning of those answers. And then I believe, what I'm learning a lot from nature journaling is then we're connecting back to the Mother Earth. And the Mother Earth, Stream Dr. Doug, is creative. So creative. I mean, look at you, look at me. All the way to this technology, and you have to get back there where, if you go out in nature, and I think it's a poem. I know, Carlos Williamson. I can't think of the yeah, I think Carlos, I don't know, we have to prepare for it. But basically, just an English haiku written by a 50s poet, right? Carlos Williams. I'm close. And I'm going to paraphrase the haiku, so we could probably look it up. But basically, he says, he describes the Black Mountains, right? And like how it's, a dark mountain, almost like Mordor. See, that's an example of going into, Lord of the Rings. And then, Led Zeppelin went there too, right? So a lot of their songs are in Mordor, in Tolkien's world, and that's what that guy, Game of Thrones guy, George Martin, I think that's his name. There's a YouTube video where he talks about why Lord of the Rings is the Lord of the Rings, and through poetry and wonderment, I pay attention when I watch that, and also not being a fan, going, "Oh wow!" No, I'm like, he's a contemporary George Martin. He may do Game of Thrones and make all this money and be at that level, but I do the same thing he does because I come from the heritage of it, right? So he said basically Tolkien is so special because Tolkien just didn't tell a story. He told the story world. And so I just, when I hear that keeps me creative right there. I go, whoa, because, if you want to call it stuck like a kid going, yeah, or just staying in the flow of knowing who I am and what I do for my roots, even though my roots have been torn left and right, like I was talking about the internment camps. My language is taken, but I'm still through art, that's how it comes to be, because like my master thesis, right, is all about how art and technology are not a subject. You cannot learn them because they invoke experience, and experience invokes curiosity, and it's just this cycle. And it doesn't stop flowing if you just open up. I don't believe, I've never had writer's block. I've never had I know, not knowing what to draw. Let me look that up so I could say it right. See, this is where it's powerful, and we can revisit it right here and use the web. William Carlos Williams. I think that's it. Yeah, William Carlos Williams, yeah. So I was really close. William Carlos, and then let's see if we can find that haiku. William Carlos Williams. Maybe just go haiku, or just go mountain. There's this famous one. Yeah, there's all this. Where's that one though? Maybe he didn't write it, or I'm not putting it in right. Oh, there. Well, that's his most famous poem. So we'll just put this in there. So see how this is an example right here, Duck. You see what I mean? And this is how I use the internet too. Like, I don't know how you use it, but this is how I use it. So now I stumbled across one of his best poems. And William Carlos Williams is amazing, right? Because, dude, he was a poet, right? But for your life, Duck, right? He became a doctor. He was a doctor. He was a doctor his whole life, but he became this famous poet, but he always worked a job to pay the bills, right? Hey, what's that, Mads? We gotta do your creature, huh? Okay, so here's Carlos William Carlos Williams. He lived from 1883 to 1963. And this poem's incredible. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, in which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me. They were delicious, so sweet, and so cold.